To you. Now, what's the mood like on the streets of Athens?
Yeah, good morning. Well, it's pretty lackluster, and there's not much excitement, to be perfectly honest. I was here for the referendum earlier this summer when there were jubilant scenes when the referendum was, with the EU bailout was voted against, and how the situation has changed in just a couple of months' time. People are disillusioned, they are apathetic, and they're frankly fed up because things have not gone the way in which they were promised right back from January when Alexis Tsipras and the Syriza party were swept into power. You heard in my report there that there is a lot of apathy around. I have, however, spent the last few hours at a voting station here in central Athens, and there's been a steady stream of voters turning up. Of course, those people are not apathetic, but I did ask them, I asked them a couple of questions. I've asked them why do they still feel it's important to vote. And they said, well, look, yes, it's been tough. It didn't go exactly how we wanted it to go. But, of course, this is democracy, and it's still vital that you make your voice heard. And secondly, I asked them, well, what do you want to change? And one man simply said, everything. I want everything to change, and this is the only way that we can go about it.
Well, Dan, and again, how will the bailout austerity measures then affect voters' choice in today's elections?
Well, this is very different compared to January's election because people were very clearly voting for no to austerity, no to the bailout conditions when they voted for Alexis Tsipras. And now all parties must adhere to the strict reforms which are being imposed by the EU. So that choice is no longer there for the electorate, which may explain the sort of lackluster approach to most people sort of voting here. But yeah, there's no getting away that those tough reforms to jobs, to taxes, to pensions will be implemented whoever wins this election. And the Greek people are very used to those tough reforms already. Remember, the capital controls were introduced when the bailout was agreed earlier this summer, and those are still in place. They have been eased slightly, but people are still restricted to an amount per week that they can withdraw from the cash points and so forth. And that has now become the norm here in Greece. And I think they just want to get this bailout underway and get these 3 years out of the way and hope for a better future after that.
Well, Dan, let's talk about, the two different parties now. We know the election is set to be a two-horse race between former Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras and his Syriza party. And at the centre is the Right New Democracy. Now, tell us more about these two different leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Vankis Markis, the leader of New Democracy, very much pushing himself as the safe pair of hands. Jobs, jobs, jobs is his focus. Alexis Tsipras now, of course, has a difficult mission of what exactly his message was, but he said, look, things could have been a lot worse. I saved Greece from the brink. Yes, we didn't get everything we wanted, but I've been completely honest with the electorate. And that's pretty much the positions of both parties. What is interesting is that although those two parties are pretty much neck and neck when it comes to percentages, and neither are likely to get an outright majority, so we're going to be looking at another coalition later tonight. And those talks, of course, will already have been going underway behind closed doors. What is interesting is the rise of Golden Dawn, the far-right neo-Nazi party. You saw in my package there how they have really risen and are expected to get maybe 5 to 6% of the vote. Now, a party only needs 3% of the vote to be part of the next government. Neither of the main frontrunners, though, New Democracy or Syriza, want to team up with Golden Dawn. But their rise is being put down to the migration crisis, which has, of course, been on the front line of the Greek islands here, and the anti-immigration and anti-migrant stance which Golden Dawn takes has boosted their popularity. So a lot of people are turning out to vote to ensure that that party doesn't get the predicted support, which it may well do.
Now, of course, we do expect that the elections will take place today, and we expect also the Interior Ministry to make an announcement of the first official results tonight. Can you confirm that that still stands?
Yes, absolutely. Polls close at 7 p.m. here in Greece, at 6 p.m. in South Africa, and I think 2 hours after that we should get the results. The reason it's going to be quite quick this time is because this is the second election in less than 1 year. The voters are not voting for lots of different MPs, they're simply voting for the party, so it makes it a lot quicker. I think we'll have a very clear indication a couple of hours after the polls close of who is at least going to lead this government, whether that is New Democracy or Syriza. What won't be is clear-cut. It's just how that coalition is going to be formed and what the makeup of that coalition is going to be. That could take a few more days.
A pleasure talking to you, Dan. Thank you so much for your contribution to this conversation.
No problem.
All right.